Hey everybody, I'm Sin. Welcome to the Book Nook. Today we're going to be talking about A History of Wild Places by Shea Ernshaw. This book is wondrous. I really enjoyed this. So here, let me get you History of Wild Places. Aww. Yep, History of Wild Places. That's the spine. Shea Ernshaw. All right, and just for, for funsies, we're going to put it right up there. So this book, I really enjoyed it. And I'm also starting to wonder, I've noticed other booktubers, they rate stuff and they tell you, oh, I gave this 2 stars or this 5 and whatnot. And so I was wondering if you guys think I should start doing a rating instead of saying I loved it or I thought it was good or I liked this about it and I didn't like this, or if I should kind of leave it open. Would you prefer to know like my star rating? So let me know in the comments and we'll make that happen, or we'll keep going as we have been. So I like to get books on my Kindle app, and I saw this book and I read about it and I thought it sounded pretty interesting, and I was like, all right, well let's try, and I have an app that I can check it out on the library for free and it'll go to my phone. But there was a wait for it, but I was able to sample like 38 pages of the book. So I read 38 pages of the book and I was freaking hooked. So I ended up buying it because I mean, I guess that's how they get you, right? Like you sample it, and if it's really good and you want it right away, then you buy it or you try to find it at the library or something like that. But I didn't want to wait several months to get this book because I really liked what I read. So I ordered it, and I got it and started immediately reading it, and I read it in 2 days. I don't know how I've lucked out recently with all these books that I've read that have been really good, but I've only had one book so far that was kind of like meh. And most of the ones I've read have been great. So I'm pretty sure soon I'm due to hit some ones that I'm gonna not like. But so far, we've had some really great ones, and we're putting that in that freaking great. I loved this book. It was super enjoyable. So the whole story is based around there's this woman who was an author of these like really dark and kind of twisted children's books, and her name is Maggie St. James. And she goes missing and has been missing for 5 years. And there's this other character, Travis Wren, and his life is kind of like falling apart. He's living this nomad existence, and he has this ability to find people. He can touch an object and he can see the people's memories and kind of see what they did. And this is something he has had as an ability since his childhood. His family also has had similar things like these abilities, and it's something he grew up with. There was a period in his life where he was, drinking a lot, because when he drank, he didn't have to feel or see any of these memories, kind of like numbing himself. And he's gotten to the point in his life now, he's older, and he kind of just wants to like disappear into the wild. And his buddy calls him, and his buddy wants him to do this one last job, and he's not really sure he's going to take it because he doesn't want to. But the guy tells him the story of this author who is missing, that he knew the family personally, and then they say I don't know, he says something about a graveyard, a specific graveyard, and that's where the Travis Wren, one of his family members, is buried, and it's somewhere near, I think, where they grew up, possibly. And so that touches a chord with him, and he, after a little bit of like going back and forth, he decides to take this last job. And now with Maggie St. James, her children's books were very dark, and so a lot of people had issues with these, and they were like, these books are inspiring kids to run away. They're running away from home, and they're going out into the woods, and they're searching for this place called the Underground that's written about in these tales. it takes a really tragic turn where this one boy in Alaska, he goes and he tries to find the underground and they find him dead and frozen in a cave. And after this is kind of when Maggie St. James disappears. So, this is all like stuff that's right in the beginning. Even the kind of the cover flap of the book will tell you this. So, I'm just gonna try to keep it like the gist of the story. Okay, so you have those two main characters. And he's on the track of her. He goes and before taking this job, he goes and he speaks to Maggie St. James's parents and, talks about like why he wants to, why they want him to find her and whatnot. And so he takes like half the payment of the money to find her. And when he returns with her, if he does, whether she's dead or alive, he will get the rest upon returning. And so he talks with them, and it goes pretty normal with the whole missing person thing. She's been missing for 5 years, and the dad's really upset. And the mom, she seems kind of weird about stuff. She's a little weird, and I don't know. So anyways, he talks to them, he takes the money, and so he's going to leave, and he goes to the ferry that he has to take across the water to get back to where he had come from. At least I believe that's where he was going, or he goes to go back to where he was, he doesn't really have a home. So I guess he goes to start the job, but where he ends up, the mom follows him, and before he leaves, they talk for a little bit, and she says the word, and he kind of gets this vibe like she might know something about where Maggie has disappeared to, and the mom says this word, pastoral. Okay, so you have pastoral. What is it? So he does some digging and he looks up on like the internet and tries to find anything he can about this place. And he finds this one newspaper article. And it talks about these hippies that went out into the woods and they made this community, and that's about it. He finds this one article and it kind of dead ends there, and that's the only thing he could find searching and looking for pastoral, and then like nothing else. And the only lead he really has is the town and where she disappeared and where her car disappeared. So he, after leaving, and the mother says this word pastoral, and all this you can see on the flap of the book too. So the pastoral information, that's not a spoiler. So he goes to this town where she was last seen, and he stops at this gas station and talks to this lady, and the lady remembers who Maggie was and that she bought a pack of strawberry chewing gum, and then she had asked her where this red barn was. So with that information, Travis leaves, and he heads down the road, and he finds this red barn to where she was last seen. And he has, the parents had given him one of her, like a charm that used to be on a necklace that she had. It was a little silver book. I'm like holding it like I have it in my hand. I know, there's nothing in my hand. It's like when my cat thinks there's still treats in there. There's not. There's no treats there. Even though you think there's more. Anyways, so he holds it in his hand when he gets to where the barn is, and he gets these flashes of memory. And he sees it, she had gone there with the intent. She had planned on coming back. Sorry, I'm like, where my brain can't think today. She went there and she had planned on coming back. She had gotten out of her car and she walked into the woods. And it seemed like maybe she knew where she was going. So he starts on the trail of her. And when she had disappeared, it was summertime. Well, now it's in the winter. And so he goes out into the woods and he finds, as he goes into the woods and he's taking his truck through, there's like some roads, and it goes in, and like he comes to this like little broke down house that she wasn't there. There was other memories when he touches the house of some other people that used to live there, and he hits a few places where he's about to like give up and turn around, but then he sees this tree with like these 3 marks on it. And as he keeps going, like when he goes down the roads, he'll find more of these trees with the 3 marks. So that's how he kind of determines he's going the right way. And he's still getting flashes of memories of her. And eventually, after hours of traveling into the woods, he sees like this little weird guardhouse, which he imagines, oh, this has gotta be abandoned, And he gets out of his truck because his truck, oh crap, sorry. So his truck had got stuck as you know, it's winter, and he's driving down these roads that probably haven't been driven on in forever. His truck gets stuck, so he gets out and he starts hoofing it on foot, trying to still keep this track of her. And so yeah, he comes to this guardhouse, and he imagines there can't be anyone in there. Well, there is. Someone pops out, and they look at each other, and they're like, "What?" And then the story kind of flips and disappears there. So then we switch over to the scene of Pastoral. And Pastoral is this place where that guardhouse was. And it starts to get into the story of the lives of the people who live there. And somehow that had Maggie been there? Was she there? No one seems to know of her. And then Travis his story ends there too. It seems like he disappeared as well. And so it gets into these lives of these other characters and what has been happening there. And so you follow these other characters as you get to see this other place, and remind you that Pastoral is this place that Maggie St. James' mother had mentioned. So what happened to Maggie, and what happened to Travis, who was tracking her? Like, where do these people go? And all of a sudden you're like, all right, so you're learning about these other people's lives. You know, are they going to discover where these people disappeared to? Maybe they just passed through. There's so many different questions of like, what's happening? And yeah, it gets like into these people's lives. So the book leads you to there, and then it's a mystery. So the first sentence of the book, I'm going to read you the first sentence of the book that immediately this book grabbed me with. So the first sentence is, death has a way of leaving breadcrumbs, little particles of the past that catch and settle and stain. So that's the first sentence. And the book is written this way the whole way. It's so descriptive and so beautiful. Like, the way things are described is almost sensual. Like, and it's not over descriptive. I've read books where stuff is just like over descriptive and my eyes glaze over and I'm like, ugh, like I can't even handle the over description because it takes away from the story. This does not do that at all. Like, it's beautiful. I pretty much could probably flip to any page and find like something beautifully written. But it's literally like an artist painting a picture with words, and it's fan-freaking-tastic. It's like they really want you to truly visualize and experience like this story, and you do. And I am probably going to read other books by Shea because I really, really enjoyed this. It's really freaking good. And then, so as you know, that Travis guy was trying to track her through the woods. He said a line that I really liked, and I wrote that down, so I'm going to read that. He said, "We all leave markers behind, dead or alive, vibrations that trail behind us through all the places we've been." And it's like that line is kind of, obviously he can sense the energy and the vibrations, and that's, I guess, how he tracks people when he tries to find them. And I thought it was quite fascinating. So yeah, I don't want to get too much more into the story because it's so good. You end up in Pastoral, and then the story just goes into this wild, I say the word wild a lot. And hey, this book is called A History of Wild Places, so it's appropriate. Just saying. It's this wild cast of characters and their stories, and it's just really good. The character development I thought was really great. You get a glimpse into these people's lives and the way they're living their lives, and even the ending of the story, which I'm not going to talk about, was very satisfying. I didn't feel like there was loose ends. I didn't have to like kind of like create my own ending in my mind. Like, it was well thought out and well structured and just really great. So once again, if you guys do think I should do out of a star rating, you know, or thumbs up, or I don't know what the hell, I'm just saying stuff. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I love this book. It was great. I want to read more by Shea Ernshaw. Like, super fantastic way of writing, so descriptive, so enjoyable to read. Just, I loved it, and I would highly recommend this. Thank you for joining